used. Okay, it's a vast area. It depends on the situation to situation. But the most thumb rule I can say is that if it's a fixed cost type of project, don't go with Agile. You will end up in a problem then, because it keeps on changing. You give liberty to the stakeholder to change things. Okay. Yes, if it is man and material, you are building him, better go for Agile. Let him give what number of changes he wants. Keep on doing those changes. That's the best option. Lifelong chalte rahega. Okay. Now, what was your question? Can you repeat that question to me?
Question specifically was that in a traditional project environment which has a waterfall life cycle using PMP concepts, where we get a set of requirements and read upon it with a user or group of users, get their complete approval on it. And 12 months down the line, when we deliver the first instance of that working software, how do you make sure that this is still relevant? 12 months is a long time in the industry.
Now, first thing, when you said 12 months is actually a very long time, you should not do something like that in PMP, please. If you are, hold on, let me answer. There may be a situation in your organization where a project like that came, but it's a wrong way of handling project then. Okay? Your stakeholders should be involved in regular basis, not day-to-day basis. Sometimes, given a duration, after every duration, keeping posted with the plans that we are here and this is what we are doing.
I'm putting something from an industry data source now. The average length of ERP implementations across the globe is 3 years. The first instance is delivered in a year and a half. How do you make sure that the customer still wants that? We have spent 12 months delivering something and we have done a good job. I'm not saying we have not followed all the processes. But once that has been done, your group of users might be wanting something completely different. So all you have done for those 12 months, who knows?
See, in this situation, if you are talking about ERP, okay, these ERP are very standard products available in market. They know what market needs. If you go after 12 months and you tell them this is the ERP, and he's in production industry and you show him something from marine industry, then it's a total failure. Okay. Now, if you go with the production industry ERP over there, give him a production industry ERP. Okay. Now, when he gave specifications to you, the requirements, you drafted those requirements, you took a sign off of that. Okay, you produce him with whatever use cases or prototype or whatever XYZ things you give it to him, that person. So those things are there. Now if he says that after 12 months I don't need it, right?
I'm not trying to be argumentative, so please bear with me. You must be the only industry in the world where we penalize the user to change their minds. When you are building a house for yourself where you intend to live, suppose you decide to change the color of the floor 6 months into the process and your person says, no, you have to wait for 12 more months, send me a change request, and only then can you change anything in the house. What's the point? We are basically delivering a product that will be used by somebody in the end. If the user is not going to use it, your project is failed. In any case. So unless the user is allowed to make that change and make it usable, what's the point? I think you quoted an example earlier about the number of requirements that are not used once they are delivered. I personally experienced a lot of that in ERP also. Companies build features and eventually never use them. And I think that is a question which Agile has tried to answer over a period of time.
Right. Now in this situation, if you say that if you want to change the color of your floor or your house in 6 months, whether the deliverable is supposed to be given in 12 months, okay, that doesn't mean that you don't take the change. You take the change, do the proper impact analysis of that, put it to user. Okay, earlier you asked that the wall should be somewhat diagonal, now you want it to be a pure vertical wall, I'll change it. But because of this, these are the impacts. If you want, we can go with that. The impact may change your schedule also, may change your cost also. Put it to the customer.
That is the point. That is what Agile says.
That is what PMP says.
No, excuse me, let me come to my point.
That's what PMP says.
PMP says that if you have a 12-month project, plan it to the last level of detail for the 12th month, elaborate progressively. What Agile says is, create a high-level plan, but do not get into the details.
Hold on. It says elaborate progressively when the requirements are not clear. Only then. If the requirements are very clear, I want a diagonal wall, plan it accordingly, go ahead. But if it says instead of diagonal, now make it vertical, I will make it vertical. I will pass it to the change control board. They will do the impact analysis. The impact is presented to the customer. Customer says, okay, I am ready to bear that impact, go ahead. I will do it vertical. No issues.
When was the last time you worked on a project that didn't have at least 10% change requests?
There are more than 10% change requests.
Exactly. And what they make it up. I mean, this is turning into a discussion on Agile.
Right. So can I answer your questions which you have put up? See, again, I would say that you have mentioned a very good point that Mohit, Agile doesn't focuses upon iterative changes or dynamic changes in the plan. Rather, it is more driven by the customer's priorities and as and when customer comes up. And that is what I have been trying to say. When the customer comes up with something and based upon his priority, today he said that I want to wear black shoes, tomorrow he says I want to wear brown shoes. And I said, okay sir, no issues, let's have a brown shoes. Instead of asking him to have a change request raised first. Number one. Number two, you said that Mohit, how will the fixed price project in which there is no change accepted, how will the agile methodology be helpful in that? Since you are working in Agile, I believe I just mentioned one of its approaches and that was early release of the project. What happens is that I have a fixed price project of let's say 6 months. I know it's going to be completed in 6 months. But there is no change as such, but still I involve more team members, meeting the customer expectations, and then I make sure that before 6 months I am ready to release that project or release that product or deliver that service. So Agile says that if you follow this approach, if you dynamically change yourself or mold yourself according to customers' expectations, you would be able to achieve more benefit out of it. And what else you want? You said your house will be ready in 2 years, I made it available to you in 1.5 years. You said that tomorrow morning I want color as white of the walls and tomorrow I said blue. I said okay. Agile doesn't say that there is no process behind it, but it trains you in such a way that you are dynamic to changes and you implement it in such a way that you make the returns out of it as well without disturbing the budget and every other resource constraints. And that is the beauty of Agile which I have been focuses upon in my discussion.
But I have a point over here. If you keep on changing this, how it's not going to affect your budget? That is the beauty. Now, for example, I have painted my wall with white, suddenly you say now change it to red. There is a cost involved.
No, yes, but that is approved from the client because when we started off with the project, we said that, sir, if there would be any iterative changes, there would be a cost involved in it and we would have to bear it. Client said, okay, I am ready, but I just want to make sure that if I said that by tomorrow it should be done, it should be done. I said, okay, I'll include more resources and I'll make it happen. And that's what I did.
Now, again, if you put more resources, if you put more resources, what are you doing? Fast tracking it?
No, making dynamic changes.
Right, somewhere. So indirectly, it's boils down to the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. I think that is what I was trying to say. That Agile pretty much caters to similar concepts. It does focus on short-term planning.
Right.
Answering a question about introducing change and changing the cost, I think that's a point that you have made. I just want to elaborate something on that if that's okay. Even in Agile, there is a concept of managing cost. There is a concept of managing your capacity and you never take up more than the capacity. So even if you have introduced 3 new change requests into a sprint, you're also pushing out something out of that sprint and your costs are going to be the same.
Right, it was, see, now just for sake of debating, we have to debate, okay, somehow.
So end of the day, you agree that Agile is okay.
I never said that. I have to take a stand over here.
Sir, it does not.
See, the debate is not yet over, okay? So if you ask questions that we want to take a neutral stand and take what are our stakes, believe me, it will be totally different.
No, the debate is still on, sir.
Okay, I have a question which is probably an extension of the question which he asked about the usability of where you want to use Agile. Is your take different on the if the projects are pure development projects or maintenance and support kind of project? So in that case, is your take different or you see it's all generic everywhere? You can use either one or a mix of it of how it is.
I would say the take would be same in both of them because Agile captures any kind of changes which are from the customer's expectations into your plan without disturbing the whole bunch of it and delaying it. So even if you are developing a software need to deliver it to the customer in the middle of it in let's say 2-3 months comes up and says that you have to have this change, you are dynamic to it, your team is aware of it, you planned a meeting, made that change, done. In case of IT services, if you have to implement, let's say, configuration management processes in place, customer said, I just want data center CIs to be included in CM.